More users of cocaine are requiring emergency treatment in this country, and the drug is getting stronger, part of the findings of the latest global drug survey. One cocaine user talked to Radio 1's Newsbeat about it.
It's one of those special occasion drugs. I've noticed it getting stronger maybe since the beginning of the year. I know my friend was out in East London and I think someone took cocaine and it was nearly 100% pure and they died off it. So you've been hearing more stuff like that. More regularly now when we take it, it burns more. There's a worry every time you take any type of drug, but when you're in the moment and when you've got it and you've paid for it, you kind of just try to ignore those symptom signs. I must admit, more recently it's been more of a worry, but thankfully I can't afford to take it as much. So when I do, it's kind of more of a we'll just take the risk for tonight and hopefully I'll be around tomorrow.
Well, Dr. Adam Winstock is founder of the Global Drug Survey and is on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Explain first what you found about the numbers of people having to be treated for cocaine use.
So we saw that the number of last year users had increased from 0.5% to 1%. So that's still only 1 in 100, but we were looking at kind of several thousand users across the UK, and we've been tracking this for the last kind of 5 years. And the increase matches the doubling of street purity of cocaine in the UK. So we think there's very much a link between better quality drugs and increased risk, which is, of course, not what many people would assume.
Yes, you might assume that a better quality of drug with fewer other substances adulterating it would be safer.
And I think that's not the case because if people don't know what they're taking, and if suddenly purity increases, you're suddenly finding yourself consuming a larger amount of a drug. And more of a drug like cocaine tends to put more stress on your heart and your brain, which can lead you to feeling panicky, anxious. Your chest's kind of going to explode. And that's why sometimes people think they're going to die and they get themselves to A&E.
And has it got more expensive if it is getting purer?
It is. So there's now a two-tier market in the UK where you can buy, if you will, economy cocaine for £50 or £60 a gram, or you can buy luxury cocaine or premium cocaine for £80, £90, £100 with the promise that you're getting a better product. Now, you may be or you may not. There's no guarantee you get what you pay for.
And what sorts of things are people then being treated for? And, how long? I mean, assuming that people aren't in the sort of fatal overdose scenario, what are the long-term effects?
So, for most people, it is a short-lived it's a few hours of feeling panicky, anxious. Very often you can have abnormal heart rhythms. Sometimes people get very aggressive when they're on cocaine, particularly when they're drinking. The other risk of better quality cocaine, of course, is that it may lead more people to becoming dependent on the drug because it becomes a more reinforcing, a more enjoyable experience. And for us, what it means is that you need to have better, honest conversations with people because most people use drugs relatively safely. But we need to give people better information so they can make smart decisions to reduce the risks both for themselves and their friends.
Because certainly, judging from the person who talked to Radio 1's Newsbeat about their experience, she sounded very relaxed about it, about her use of cocaine.
Well, the majority of people in the UK are maybe using cocaine on 10 or 15 times a year. Fortunately, cocaine's very expensive and therefore that kind of limits people's use. But I think what was very clear is that lady was aware of the risk. And I think by moderating your use, by being careful how much you use in an evening, making sure you're not drunk when you use, you can reduce those risks. But it's very difficult in the present climate to have honest conversations with people saying you can use lots of drugs with relatively low risks for most people if you follow some simple strategies. Instead of simply saying to people, don't use drugs, they're dangerous. That's not a useful dialogue for people who are making informed decisions to use drugs of a wider lifestyle. That person might also go to yoga and be a vegetarian. It's about a lifestyle choice, and we need to help people stay safe through the choices they make.
Dr. Adam Winstock, founder of the Global Drug Survey. Thank you.